My friend, the author and speaker Sally Hogshead, once told me that the brands in the least fascinating category have the opportunity to become the most fascinating because the bar is so much lower relative to them. And that is so true, isn't it? Many of the examples I tell you about here on the show are from B2C companies. But not only can word of mouth work for B2B, it may actually work better, as you'll discover in this episode where I tell you about a manufacturer with what may very well be the greatest t-shirt giveaway of all time. Word of mouth influences 50% of all purchases. But check this out. In B2B, word of mouth influences 91% of all purchases. But as always, when you're very laissez-faire about word of mouth, you're just hoping that your customers notice you and tell your story. A much better approach is to do word of mouth on purpose with an actual strategy. After all, a talk trigger is just an operational choice. It's an element of your customer experience that you design to create conversations. And because most B2B companies have seemingly taken a solemn vow to be as boring as humanly possible, when B2B companies put just a tiny little twist on things, they can unlock a torrent of customer storytelling. Craig Flynn owns a 47-year-old family lumber company in Northern California. They make high-end wooden trim products. So they make like baseboards and crown moldings, chair rails, wainscoting, that kind of thing. Their customers are carpenters, they're master craftsmen, they're contractors. And like a lot of manufacturers, they've got a large array of different products. They've got different woods, they've got different stains, they've got different cuts. And so how can they communicate all of that to their customer base? So like a lot of other manufacturers, what Craig and his team used to do was buy ads. They'd buy lots of ads. They'd buy magazine ads and all the different trade publications and glamour shots of their products. And each ad would cost them $20,000 or $30,000 for one ad in one magazine. But Craig doesn't advertise much anymore, hardly ever in fact, because Craig and his team came up with a truly remarkable talk trigger that turned their customers into their greatest marketing advantage and keeps their phones ringing every day. How? Well, on the back side of every board that they make, Craig's company puts a stamp. It says prime all cuts, which is very good advice if you're cutting something, especially for exterior application. And then the stamp says, call Kurt for a shirt, 888-229-7900. So you know you're on the job site, and you're getting ready to cut that board, and you're standing there with a saw, you get your hard hat on, and you see this stamp, and you think, who is Kurt? And curiosity will get the best of you in a situation like that, so you grab your phone and you dial the number. First ring, he picks up. Hey, this is Kurt. Who's this? Like, it's Jay Baer. Oh, that's fantastic. Nice to talk to you, Jay. Where are you from? Where are you calling in from? I'm in Bloomington, Indiana. Oh, that's great. What are you working on there, Jay? Well, Kurt, I'm remodeling a basement. Oh, that's fantastic. What products are you using, Jay? And I go on to describe the products that I'm using from the company, and then Kurt tells me about a bunch of other products that maybe I didn't even know existed. You see, Kurt is the head of inside sales for the company. And then he says, hey, you a fat guy, Jay? Excuse me, Kurt? Well, I gotta know what size t-shirt to send you. What size shirt are you, Jay? Well, I'm probably an extra large if I'm being optimistic. Fair enough. Hey, you working by yourself, Jay? No, I've got hundreds of people listening to the show, watching the show on YouTube right now. That's fantastic. How fat are they? Well, it kind of varies, I would suspect. So the next day, on the job site, a box is delivered to me, FedEx. I open it up, and inside that box are shirts for me and for my whole crew with our names on it, sized in the right sizes, and then a sample of every single product that Kurt and I discussed on the call. Brilliant. Craig's company has grown massively since they started this program, and in the first 6 years, The Call Kurt for a Shirt program generated 18,752 phone calls. Their biggest problem now is finding inside sales guys who are named Kurt. It's a real HR challenge, actually. And even the shirts themselves are talkable. When you're driving past a job site, maybe a remodeling project, something like that, and you see some guys outside, you might see a shirt somebody wearing that says, "Got wood?" And now you'll know where that shirt came from. It comes from Craig's company and their customer experience designed to create conversation, a program where they realized that same is lame and they made a choice to do something different. The shirt you see is from a wooden board manufacturer in California called Windsor One. How about that? Next time here on the show, you'll learn about a college in Japan that made a choice to do their graduation ceremony in a way that you have never, ever seen before. To never miss an episode, subscribe now on YouTube. You can get this show as a podcast as well. Many of you are listening to the podcast. Thanks so much. Go to wherever you get your audio. Just search Talk Triggers. You'll find it. You can find every show at talktriggershow.com as well. And hey, if you want help coming up with your own talk trigger for your own business, just visit me at wordofmouthconsulting.com. You can find me right there. And do me a favor, if you like the show, please tell your friends. Tell them online, tell them offline. Leave a review, won't you? That'd be fantastic. After all, this is a show about the power of word of mouth. See you next time.